Morning.
That's too early. We don't do it now.
Just doing a little pre-morning.
Pre-morning.
Oh my goodness, I've had a busy morning.
Oh no.
Nothing exciting, so I won't go on about it.
Oh, is it menopause, is it?
Actually, no, that was fine. That was fine. I could deal with that all morning. Yeah,
Oh
just
dear.
just everything else.
Just life.
Just life.
I know.
Life.
I put that on our socials. Because I just haven't been able to do it because I've not had the mental capacity to even consider what
No.
to put on social media. So I just haven't been doing it. So I felt like I was back on track a little bit yesterday, and I thought, right, I'm gonna get back on it. And I literally put a post out and said, life, life, our real life is just taken over.
Yeah. It's the
And
all the
that's
boring
rubbish.
stuff. The
I
pod is like the good, exciting, interesting, crazy bit
mm,
of life. And it's just all the other boring stuff just
I
gets in the
know.
way.
I don't want to do real life.
No, we just want a pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that should be our slogan.
Yeah.
I don't want to do real life. I just want a pod.
Yeah. I'd rather be podding.
Rather be podding.
Yeah. But yeah, how are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
All right.
Alright.
All right. Yeah.
Cool.
Good. Did you hear that Liam Payne died?
I did. I did. I saw it on the
So
socials
sad.
this morning. I was flicking
Yeah.
through, and I actually came up on a because I follow RuPaul Drag Race because love him.
Because why not?
Why not? And it come up on there. Post Liam
Oh.
Payne died after falling off a balcony, and I was like, what? So
Yeah.
I didn't believe it, and then I started reading the comments, and I was like, you don't believe everything you
Yeah.
see. And I started reading the comments, and I was like, these people are idiots. Like,
Yeah.
saying, condolences and things like that. And I'm like, it's not even real. And then I
Yeah.
looked it up, and I was like, oh man,
Oh no, I do exactly the same thing because all on social media, you always see those posts saying RIP, died today, and things like that. And you're like, oh my God.
hmm
And then after like 3 or 4 times of having a heart attack and going, oh my God, please don't say that they're dead, and then looking it up and thinking, no, they're fine.
yeah,
It's just clickbait.
clickbait.
Clickbait. And I thought the same about Liam Payne when I saw that. I was like, no. Why is everyone, same as you, why is everyone commenting going, oh, so sad, RIP Liam, condolences and all that? And I thought, that's not real. Like, don't fall for it. And then I went off of, it was on Facebook. I went off Facebook, looked somewhere else, and I was like, oh my God, it is
Mm.
actually true this time.
Oh no, how sad.
It's really sad. He was 31.
I know. I don't think it happens the way that you think it happens. Like, yeah,
I don't think it does. I think no matter how you die, I think you check out
your brain
before.
protects you.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sad for you, Liam.
Yeah, and
But
Annie's little boy,
oh, he's
Bear.
got a son,
He's
has
got a little
he?
son, hasn't he, Bear? Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. But yeah, I do genuinely send my condolences, and I just think that's so sad, and it just seems so much sadder when they're so young. Oh. So sorry, listeners, we're just dealing with a cat tail. Susie, talking
Oh,
about serious stuff.
she's a diff. She's just purposely come onto the table to knock stuff off.
That's what cats do.
How
Yeah.
do they do that? I didn't know that about cats
Oh, didn't you?
until no, and I was like, gosh, purposely edging it towards boop 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 boop
Yeah.
boop plop. Why do
Yeah. My cat used to sit on the worktop in the
they? Yeah.
kitchen, and I'd be sitting in the lounge, and there was no joining wall or anything. I could see straight into the kitchen, and I'd sit there and I'd look across, and she'd put a paw on the side of just like one glass that I'd dared to like put on the
Mm,
worktop, and she'd just move it a little bit like that, and I'd go, "Don't." But she would maintain eye contact with me the whole
yeah,
time, and then
absolutely.
go move it a little bit more, and I'd go, "For God's sake, Tubby, leave it alone, leave it alone." Leave. She'd sit there. looking at me, and then she'd put a paw on it when it was right on the edge, and I'd get up and she'd quickly smash it off the worktop so it smashed, and then she'd leg it. I was like, oh God.
I know.
Yeah.
I'd love to say it's the cat that smashes all of our glasses, but it actually isn't. It's me and Hayley.
Clumsy
Just
oafs.
sitting on the worktop. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens, but me and Hayley are renowned for smashing glasses. And I wasn't even washing up yesterday. It normally happens in a washing up accident because they're my slippery, aren't they?
Yeah. Slippery and soapy.
There was a glass in the sink and I just walked past the sink.
And it threw itself.
I didn't even do anything. And it's just flown over and smashed in the sink. And I looked at Josie, because she obviously was intensely disappointed in me. Because, yeah, again, I've broken up. And I was like, I didn't even touch it, though. It's done that on purpose. It's them ghosties.
Yeah.
It's them ghosties.
Well, it's probably a ghost cat, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. But that leads us on to a good segue, because this episode is a ghosty episode.
Yes.
Yeah, well, talking about random things. Random blams. Go.
Shit. I got one and it made me chuckle.
All right.
So join me with the chuckling.
I'll do my best.
So 3 facts about ghosts, because it's...
Oh, I think you've probably done the same as me. I just looked that up.
It made me chuckle. So I'll do 3, and then if you want to do some, you can. I'm just reading the top 3. So the United States is the most haunted country in the world.
You're literally on the same site as I am, and I was going to use the Romans one.
I know, that's the one that made me chuckle.
I know, that's what I was going to do.
All right,
gosh, we are so in sync.
I know, we're like 2 minds.
Yeah,
I mean, we are 2 minds.
Go on, you do the top 3, and then I'll do the other ones.
All right. Do you want to do the Roman one? Because that actually made me laugh, because it's very me. I should be Roman.
All right then. So let's do the one about Queen of the Bloody Mary, because that's interesting.
Yeah. All right. I'll do that one. You do the next one.
All right.
So the first Queen of England is Bloody Mary.
I don't think people in America would do this, because I remember doing this as a child.
Do you not think?
No.
I don't know. We've got loads of American listeners, so they can let us know. Have you heard of I don't know what it is.
Like the superstition that if you say Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror, she'll come out and scratch your face off.
Scratch your face off. Yeah, I mean, I was always told that she would appear behind you in the mirror and then slit your throat. So a little bit more serious we were in Brentwood. Yeah, but the legend says that if you say Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror, she will appear and tell you your future. Well, I never heard about that.
No, that's not why I did it.
Mine was fear of death. That I thought I was dicing with death, not dicing with a fortune teller. But apparently she's an evil entity, so you can't trust her.
No.
But yeah.
All right. So another fact about ghosts. Romans believed that you could use ghosts for revenge.
Yes.
So for many years, the Romans believed that you could get a ghost to enact revenge on your enemies by scratching a curse into a stone tablet. The curse needed to include your enemy's name and should describe how you wanted them to be tormented. You would then place a stone on a grave or burial site to encourage the deceased to carry out the curse. That's some like almost voodoo doll shit.
Yeah, I'm going to screenshot that because I might want to use that.
Start scratching curses into stones.
I'm going to go out and get myself a couple of big stones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. Ghosty facts.
Ghosty facts to go in with the ghosty episode. So, random blams.
Done. I've got something I want to ask you.
Go on.
We're always rambling on about shit.
What do you mean?
I know. I know it's
Do you mean our eloquent
news to us.
conversations?
Yeah, professional ramblings. Um, do you think that people are enjoying it?
What, our podcast?
Yeah, do you think people enjoy the podcast?
Yeah, I reckon so.
What makes you think that?
Because we've got some shout outs.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we've got some shout outs.
So good.
Oh my
Love it.
goodness. Absolutely. And yeah, so shout out first and foremost. Thank you everybody for all the love because we feel so loved.
Yeah. I want to say thanks to Renee again as well. Love Renee.
Yeah,
She says
Renee.
such lovely stuff and she's so proactive with all of our social media and YouTube and everything. So
Yeah.
love
So
you.
we never know if you like the episodes, if you don't like the episodes, which episodes you prefer more, which episodes you don't prefer, but unless you communicate with us. And Renee, every episode,
Yeah.
bam, this is what I love, this is what I think.
Yeah.
And it's great because she even gave us some insight into what she thought about the Andrew Gosden case, which is what we want from our listeners.
That's
we
what
want to
we
know
want.
what you think because these are cases that perplex us and we want to know everybody else's opinions.
Yeah.
So that we can kind of formulate an idea of,
Yeah.
so we're not so perplexed all the fucking time.
I know, all the time as well, everyone. Just all the
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, Renee, you've set yourself a bit of a precedent now because now if you don't comment on anything, I'm going to take it personally and think that you don't love us anymore.
Where are you, Renee?
Yeah, where are you? But yeah, have a good day, Renee. I know you're listening.
Uh-huh. So we've got a shout out to Emma. Emma.
Emma.
The name poses a dilemma. Because not much is wrong with Emma.
Love that.
Emma is a new subscriber of ours. She's joined our little Blamily and now has access to all the Blam episodes, past and present and future.
Yes. And also Emma is the lady that provided some insight on the pod as well, and she was like, love it. She also gave me the random blam that Sarah had already done about the moon.
Oh, about the moon
yeah,
and the Australia.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emma.
But she listening. She listening.
Yeah.
She was just taking a bit of time to catch up because she has children and she can't always.
And real life.
Yeah, and
real
life gets
the
in the
time.
way. But yeah, they are her Emma and her husband Glenn. Love Emma and Glenn. They're great people. So hey,
good.
And thanks so much for subscribing.
Yes, thank you. And another shout out to Michaela.
Michaela.
Thank you. Michaela, where are you from?
Our first Michaela.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
we
Michaela.
don't even know where you're from, Michaela.
Tell us something about you.
We've also got the option to send us a text message. If you don't do socials, you're not following us, you can send us a text message.
You can. Yeah. So it's the first link that comes up in our description, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Send us a message. Let us know where you're from, Michaela. But we appreciate you.
Yep. So that is to wrap up our shout outs. Thank you very, very much because, you know, we do this in our spare time and as often and as possible as we can. And these stories take ages to research. You know, some of the big cases like the two-parters and things like that, they take so long to research and then to write. And so just a massive thank you to everybody for listening and supporting us because
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It makes such a big difference to us. And then eventually we'll be able to do this full time. We won't have to keep trying to squeeze in all our research and script writing days and all that. That'd be great.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
That'd be real nice.
Real nice.
Morning.
Morning, morning.
Morning. So I've got some ghost stories for everybody.
I can't wait. I'm so in the ghosty, Halloweeny spirit.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Right. So after our quite a few heavy episodes, we like to do one that's a little bit less heavy to listen to. Even though I know everybody enjoys the heavy stuff because I do as well. I really enjoy it and I like listening to it. But sometimes we like to have a fun episode.
Yeah, I think we've deserved it. We've earned a bit of an
Yeah,
easier.
little bit light-hearted because they
Yeah,
take their toll. I mean, when
yeah,
I
they
was
do.
doing the Andrew Gosden one, that was so upsetting,
Hmm.
and it was even you research it and then it upsets you, and you then record it and it upsets you, and
Yeah.
so it's nice to do one for us, not even for you guys, for us to do one that's a little bit light-hearted.
It's just for us. Stop listening.
Yeah. So I've got some campfire ghost stories because everybody loves them,
We love it.
and they are people's own experiences. These can be people that are absolute skeptics, that aren't skeptic anymore, and
Mm.
I find these very interesting to go through. So this first one is quite a long one, but it's very, very interesting, and it is from
Okay.
Reddit user Cortez13.
Mm.
And she says, this is a long one, but it's the scariest paranormal, maybe reincarnation I've ever experienced. In 2019, me and my now husband were enjoying a cold beer in our rented flat one night. We were daydreaming of the future and scrolling through Rightmove, looking at properties out of our price range, wondering what it would be like to live in and own one of these homes. This is something we often did, sending each other properties that both of us knew we wouldn't be able to afford. It would often make the comment of, that's it, that's the one. And my husband would respond with, ah, yes, I'll take two for that price. Well, this night was like no other. We scoured the web for properties all across the UK with no intention of actually pursuing this dream due to our current financial circumstances. You're going to love this one, my husband said. It's right up your street. Cozy cottage, rural, log burner. Say no more, send it to me, I said. The moment I heard the words cozy cottage, I was already in love. Ping, he sent across the link, and I excitedly started scrolling through the list. Oh my God, that's the one, I said. But this time it was different. This time it really was the one. My heart started racing as I read deeper into the property specifics. It was everything I'd ever dreamed of, and my husband knew it too. Just one slight problem: the price. No way would we be able to afford this house, and even if we could save the money, the property would definitely sell before that. We have to go see it, Leo. We can't, darling. We can't afford to buy right now, and besides, it's 2 hours away from here. Would you even want to move that far? Of course I would. For that house, I would move to the other side of the country. It's perfect. I was hooked and knew that I needed to at least view this property, a feeling I'd never had before. We hadn't even considered actually viewing any of the previous properties that we'd fallen in love with before. Sorry, love. One day we'll have our dream home, Leo said. But I knew that I had to have that house. The next morning, I got up for work and noticed my husband was already in his home office. Early start? I asked as I walked into his office. I noticed the house listing open on his computer screen. I can't stop thinking about that house, he said. I'm going to call the estate agents today and maybe book a viewing. Don't get your hopes up, though. I just don't see how we can afford it, but there's no harm in looking, right? I was like a kid in a toy shop. I was so excited to actually view a property, and the fact that it was my dream home, my hopes couldn't be any higher. Leo spoke with the estate agents and booked a viewing for the following Saturday. 5 days I had to wait to view the house. Every day I was certain we would get a call saying the house had been sold or that they were taking no more viewings. But Saturday came round and it was finally time to make the 2 hour journey. The car ride felt like a lifetime. We spoke about our future, the house and finances. We both knew we wouldn't be able to afford to do this, but we jumped in with rose-tinted glasses anyway. There it is! I pointed at the for sale sign propped up against the cottage. It looked exactly like the photos. We were greeted at the door by the current owners, and they quickly showed us in. There's not many times in life where I find myself speechless, but this is one of those times. The cottage was surreal and the location was perfect. I looked at my husband and his face said it all. He too was in love. The homeowners seemed very nice. They explained they were in a hurry to sell and were sad to be leaving after only spending 1 year in the property. 1 year, I thought to myself. I would spend the rest of my life here. But little did I know what was to come. Back in the car, me and my husband were silent. We both knew it wouldn't be possible. Told ourselves not to get our hopes up before coming here, but now that we had seen the house, we both knew that it really was the one. That night we sat and went through all of our expenses, cancelling all of our unnecessary subscriptions, desperately trying to find an inch of possibility to scrape together the deposit we needed. But no matter how hard we tried, we would fall at least £10,000 short of what we needed. Disheartened and exhausted, we both agreed it wasn't possible, and we would just have to forget we had ever seen the house. We emailed the estate agents, thanked them for their time, and asked them to keep us in the loop on the sale of the cottage. The following day was as normal as our Sundays were. We met family, went shopping, and continued as if nothing had happened. That was, of course, until Leo had an unexpected business call to take. Really? You're going to answer that? It's a Sunday. Can't it wait until you're back in work? I asked. I won't be long. I'm not sure who it is, but it could be urgent. He took himself off to answer the call. Roughly 5 minutes later, he walked back in the room. Only, it looked like he'd seen a ghost. What's wrong? I shouted, hurrying over to him. You're never going to believe it. Someone's just offered me a job on the side. Cash in hand sort of thing. That's great. Do you think you can do it? You're quite busy as it is. I asked the question, but I knew he would say yes. He's a workaholic. You don't understand, Chloe. This isn't a small job. They've offered me £10,000 to do this for them. Are you serious? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like someone above had sent an angel. All I could think about was the house. I accepted it straight away. I need to start working on it tonight and they need it desperately. That's fantastic, love. £10,000? That's exactly enough for the house deposit. He finished my sentence off. We were both slightly weirded out by the coincidence, but have always lived by the motto, if it's meant to be, it will be. The following morning, we rang the estate agents first thing and placed our offer on the house. By the afternoon, we had been accepted and had already received all the legal documents to fill in. We were over the moon, and for the next 4 months, we worked relentlessly to save any extra pennies, both putting in overtime, and my husband working side jobs on an evening and weekends to make sure we had the best start in our new home. Move-in day came around, and the whole process was so smooth sailing. It really was meant to be, I thought. It took us some time to adjust to our new home, getting our bearings in a new town, coming to terms that we were homeowners and making sure every last ornament was placed perfectly. We both often joked that the house felt like it was drawing us in, almost like it had a personality. Maybe this was because the property was nearly 200 years old and had a lot of character. But after a while, I did start to get a slight uneasy feeling. All of the coincidences and the fact that we were actually in the property did make me start to question how was this actually possible. Now, before I continue deeper into this story, I want to pause here to tell you that my husband is the biggest skeptic I've ever met. We couldn't be more opposite when it comes to the paranormal and supernatural. In some ways, this is a good thing because he would rationalise some of the things I experienced, putting my mind at ease. On the other hand, I would often find it very frustrating when he wouldn't believe the things I was explaining to him. Back to the story, we'd now been living in the cottage for a few months. For the most part, we had settled in nicely. There was just a few things that had started out of the ordinary. Items would randomly disappear and reappear in a completely different place. Keys placed on the side in the kitchen would go missing for days and show up on the bedside cabinet. TV remotes would randomly appear on the kitchen side after we both had sworn we hadn't moved them. I was starting to get very weirded out by these experiences, but my husband would simply put it down to us being tired. As frustrating as it was, he was probably right, I thought. We were both working hard during the day and decorating at night. We were probably just misplacing the items ourselves, right? It was a Friday night. We had both been up late watching a movie, and I drank one too many cups of tea. We went to bed, and as expected, I was up in the night needing to use the loo. The route to the bathroom from the master bedroom was as follows. Come out of the door. To the right was the staircase. Turn left. The bathroom was immediately in front of you, and to the left again was a long, dark hallway that led to the spare bedroom.
Nope.
The spare bedroom door was always left shut due to an open fireplace in there that caused a draft down the hall. As I approached the bathroom door, something told me to look down the hallway towards the spare bedroom. To my surprise, the door to the spare bedroom was open, and to my horror, I could make out a dark figure lurking in the corner. I froze in fear, petrified and unable to move. All I could do was watch on as right before my eyes, the house transformed back in time to the 1800s. There was now an iron cot in the corner of the room where we had placed a wardrobe, and the fire was burning even though it was now out of use. I was so confused, but still unable to move due to the pure adrenaline rushing through my body. I watched as the figure emerged out of the corner of the room and walked towards the cot. It was a woman, dressed in a white Victorian-style dress. She was crying hysterically, leaning over the cot and looking down at what I could only make out was to be a deceased child. My heart racing, I managed to stay a step closer to the bathroom door. The floorboards underneath me creaked, and in that moment I felt these eyes burning into the side of my head. She saw me. I screamed and ran back into my bedroom and slammed the door shut. What? What is it? My husband jumped out of bed. I saw a woman in the spare room, but it wasn't the spare room. It was different. It was like it was in a different time zone. And You what? He asked, still half asleep. Before I could even answer again, he was walking out of the bedroom door. Wait! I shouted as I ran after him. We both walked out into the hallway. The door to the spare room was shut. There's nothing there. He opened the door and looked around. The room was back to normal. You were probably sleepwalking or something. It's 3 a.m, Chloe. Let's go back to sleep. I know what I saw, I said, hurrying back into bed. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. I kept thinking about the lady that I saw. Who was she? Why was she crying and what happened to the baby? Questions I knew I'd probably never get the answers to. The next day, we both went about our day. Whatever I tried to mention the whole ordeal to my husband, he would just put it down to me being tired. Frustrated, I knew this time that it wasn't the case. I knew what I had seen and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. A whole year had passed since that night. It was now 2020. COVID was on the rise and lockdowns were on the way. The past year had been pretty uneventful in the house. The odd items were still being misplaced, and sometimes I would see things out of the corner of my eye, but nothing that couldn't be explained. Things like a breeze moving a curtain, or a shadow from car lights shining through the window. One thing is for sure, I hadn't seen that lady again. We were now both working from home, spending 24/7 in the cottage due to COVID. We were both starting to get cabin fever when restrictions finally started to be lifted for the first time. The first thing we did was book a week away in North Wales. Wales had our heart. The open, endless countryside, the beaches and quaint cottages. We would always visit once or twice a year and always joke that one day we would live there. On our visit this time, though, we walked past an estate agent's in a small village and saw an advertisement for a small cottage. And for the first time, it was actually in our price range. Look at this, love. I pointed through the window at the advertisement. Yes, it's lovely, but my gosh, that needs some work. He wasn't wrong. It was on the brink of being derelict. No heating, holes in the windows. It was definitely a fixer-upper. Fancy a project? I joked. Before we could continue the conversations, there was an emergency news broadcast flashing up on our phones. The country was to go back into lockdown in the next 24 hours. We had to rush back to the holiday let, pack up our belongings, and head home. Back home, our spirits were low. We were always sad when we had to leave Wales, but this was different. We were both mourning the country and wanting nothing more but to return. A few weeks had passed, and out of curiosity, we began searching Rightmove for houses in North Wales. The derelict cottage was no longer for sale, but that was no surprise to me. It was priced perfectly for a builder or DIYer to snap it up. We talked at length and decided to put our house up for sale. Maybe it was the lockdowns, maybe it was something else, but our perfect cottage was not so perfect anymore. The inviting feeling we had once felt had disappeared and the house was cold. We spoke to a few estate agents and promptly decided who we would list the house with. Within a few days, there was now a for sale sign standing outside our home. Now, like I said, the energy had shifted. The house was different, but nothing could have prepared me for what was about to happen. The second that for sale sign went up, it was like we had awoken something evil in the house. The same night we listed the house, me and Leo had been celebrating with a cold beer. Cheers to whatever the future brings, we said. We had a late one and headed off to bed. I remember feeling uneasy, almost as if I was being watched that night, and put it down to maybe having one too many. Tossing and turning, I struggled to sleep. My husband, on the other hand, was flat out and snoring next to me. I was just about to nod off when something inside me told me to open my eyes. There she was. The woman I had seen over a year ago in the spare room was now standing over our bed. The unmistakable outline of her Victorian dress and her mousy blonde hair in an out-date updo. She was staring at my husband sleeping. I closed my eyes shut, thinking that when I reopened them she would disappear. I slowly opened my eyes, but she was still there. Only now she had her hand out, slowly approaching my husband, heading straight for his throat. I screamed and watched as she contorted her head towards me, grinning as she was still leaning towards my husband, hands outstretched, ready to strangle him. I dived under the covers once again, jolting my husband awake. "Are you okay?" he shouted. I was sobbing, inconsolable, unable to find any words to explain to him what had just happened. "Chloe, what's wrong? You're starting to worry me now." He sat up, giving me a cuddle, and calmed me down before I could talk. "I saw her." "Saw who?" he asked, understandably confused. "The woman, the same woman I saw in the spare room last year, but this time she was trying to kill you." Usually, he would have some witty excuse as to what I had seen, but this time, he could tell I was dead serious. I was a wreck. He had never seen me like this before, and somewhere in the back of his mind, he could tell what I was saying was true. I didn't sleep much for the next week, and Leo could see how the house was draining my energy. We pushed on to find a new property as quickly as possible, and accepted every house viewing for our cottage. It only took 1 week for us to find a buyer for our house. They put an offer in just above our asking price, and we were ecstatic, accepting their offer right away. As usual that night, we toasted to selling our house. We were stood in the kitchen on FaceTime to family, sharing the good news. "I just need the loo," I said, running upstairs. Leo was still in the kitchen on FaceTime to his mother. I was washing up in the bathroom when I had the uneasy feeling come over me. Once again, I felt watched. I felt as though someone or something was standing outside of the bedroom door, waiting for me to come out. Shaking off the fear, I slowly opened the bathroom door. Standing in the doorway of our master bedroom was the woman. She was partially blocking my only exit to the top of the staircase. I once again froze as she turned to look at me. Her face twisted and her eyes turned black. She began to hysterically scream in my face, and dark tears ran down her angry expression on her face. She started to move closer to me. I ran like hell for the stairs, closing my eyes and screaming myself as I ran past her down the stairs and into the kitchen. She's here. She's at the top of the stairs, I cried as I ran to Leo, his mum still on the other end of the phone. It's okay. It's okay. You're safe now. Leo once again tried to comfort me, but as before, I was too distraught. We slept in the living room that night and went together on toilet shifts. Whatever or whoever she was, I could tell that she was angry at us. Maybe it was because we were selling the house. I don't know, but something in that house changed. Over the next few months, we were dealing with solicitors and estate agents on a weekly basis. Nothing about this house sale was smooth sailing, and we still couldn't find a house to move to ourselves. Our spirits started to dampen when we lost our first buyer and had to relist the house for sale. We had decided that if we don't sell again in a fortnight, and if we hadn't found a house ourselves, then we would have to take the house off the market. One evening, we were scrolling through the internet for houses as always, and I spotted the house that had started all of this. The derelict cottage in North Wales had been relisted, but this time for even cheaper than before. I showed my husband and we agreed to book a viewing. The following weekend, we drove the 3.5 hours out to Wales to see the property. We had never been to this area before, knew nothing about it, and for all we knew, it could be cheap because of the area. Nevertheless, we still went. Upon arrival, we noticed just how rural this house was. There were no neighbours, no main roads, no street lights, just this tiny cottage standing amongst fields and fields of farmlands. Areas can't be that bad if there's no one here, Leo joked. What a view, though. I pointed towards the end of the garden. That view was like something out of a painting. It was in that moment I knew that it didn't matter what the house looked like on the inside. That view was worth millions to me. We looked around the property and quickly realised it needed a lot more work than we were capable of. But for some crazy reason, we both loved the house. We thanked the estate agent for showing us around and asked if there had been much interest. Yes, we have 5 more viewings today and lots more over the weekend, they replied. We hurried into the car and knew if we wanted it, we would have to move fast. I don't know what it is about that house, but I feel safe there, I said to Leo as I was buckling my seatbelt up. Yeah, I know what you mean. What do you think about all that work it needs, though? He asked. It's a lot of work, but that view is amazing. I would definitely be worth it just for that. We drove 1 mile up the road, pulling over, and rang the estate agents immediately. Unbeknownst to me, my husband decided to put in a lowball offer, explaining to the estate agents that the property needed a lot of TLC and it wouldn't be possible at the price listed. I thought he was crazy, as the sellers had already listed the property for £40,000 less than they had done the first time around. We waited eagerly for a call back from the estate agents, worried that the sellers would be offended by our offer and wouldn't want to negotiate with us. To my surprise, though, they accepted the offer. Not only did they accept our offer, they had cancelled all the viewings that were booked to take place for that afternoon too. We raced home so excitedly, but also a little shocked at what we'd just done. We were not DIY professionals, and this was a big move, even further away from our friends and families. Upon arriving home, we received a phone call from our estate agents. We'd received an offer on our house, once again above asking price. This time it was a first-time buyer who wanted to move quickly, and as the house we'd just purchased was empty, the chain was short. We accepted this straight away and began to prepare the paperwork. A few months passed and we were starting to pack the house up one evening when the doorbell rang. It was my neighbour. We hadn't spoken too much before, but she'd been clearing out her loft and came across an old journal. She explained that the journal was written by a lady who once lived in my house many years before and thought that I would like to read through it. I thanked her and took her up on her offer. And that night after dinner, I sat at the dining room table and began to flick through the journal. I turned a few pages before suddenly being stopped in my tracks. Right there in front of me was a portrait of the woman I had been seeing in our house. Underneath the painting, it read, Jane Smith. I continued over the page. June 16th, 1856. Today I laid my sweet child to rest. I couldn't read any more. Leo, get in here! I shouted at him through the living room doors. My husband couldn't believe his eyes. Everything I told him about this woman was now written in this diary that had been handed to me by the neighbour. I spent the rest of the night delving deeper into her story to find out she married a noble man and went on to be what some might say as famous in the Victorian era. Because of this, she was pretty easy to find on Google, and a few universities in the area had done some studies on her life. I spent hours researching this woman, and I came across something quite eerie. Minus the fame, me and her hadn't lived too much of a dissimilar life. We had the same family setup, both experienced hard times, and had lived in similar areas. Obviously, we also lived in the same house. All of these, though, were just coincidences, I thought, until I saw a study paper online. It read that after living at our current house, she too moved to North Wales with her husband. But not only did she move to North Wales, she moved to the exact same town that we were buying our new home in. I was officially creeped out. Was this woman following me? Or was I following her? Or was I her in a past life and I'm now reliving this life in a different timeline? Were we related? Or is all this a coincidence? A million questions flooded through my mind, and in a panicked state, I slammed the diary shut and promptly took it back to the neighbour, never wanting to look at it again. After this, the house sale went very smoothly. I never saw the woman again, and we moved into the derelict cottage in North Wales. We were busy renovating the new house. We didn't know much about the history of the house and suspected it to be around 300 years old. I did some digging and found out that the house was used in the World Wars as a safe house to house children from Liverpool. And that is exactly what this house is, a safe house. We have now lived here for 3 years and felt nothing but safe. We've transformed this house into a home, and even though the middle of nowhere situation can seem a bit creepy at times, the second our doors are locked, we feel so safe and protected by this home. That was, until about a fortnight ago. Me and my husband went for a short walk to a cemetery down the road from here. Admiring the old headstones, we were reading out the names of people who were laid to rest here. And then I saw it. Jane Smith died 1868, followed by the name of our current house.
That can't be coincidence.
Oh no.
It can't be.
That's got to be some sort of reincarnation shit.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely has. There's no way that that can just be a mad coincidence. Can it? I mean,
No.
that it was a 3-hour drive in between the two properties, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
that's quite a long way, and
Yeah.
it's certainly in the, like 1850,
Yeah.
1860 or whatever.
And the fact that it kind of started from he like received that phone call so that they could actually buy the property.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was like
all
everything was
those.
meant to happen that way.
Yeah. Also,
Hmm.
talking of time skips,
Hmm.
the episode that we did on time skips, do you remember I included an area of King's Lynn
Yeah.
where someone by the train station, someone had a time skip where they saw someone go past. Josie listened to that. So Josie's lived in King's Lynn pretty much all of her life since she was about 11 or something,
Right.
12. And she said that down that same road that I'd spoken about where the other people saw a time skip, she didn't know what it was or anything like that. She didn't say it was a time skip, but she said, I saw a woman walk down that road in Victoria clothing. Like Victoria, she had a little bonnet on. She described to me what this woman looked like. She had like a white linen bonnet on. And she said she walks down this road and I was walking a couple of steps kind of behind her and kind of followed her. And then this woman turned into a doorway. The doorway was padlocked because it was like it was a shut down or closed down I don't know, business thing, building, and it had a big chain on it with padlocks. And Josie kind of carried on walking, and when she looked back round, the woman was gone. But she was like, she couldn't have gone into that building because it was padlocked shut. There was nowhere else for her to go. but it was on the exact same road
That's
that
crazy, isn't it? I wonder if,
I'd
yeah, I
spoken
wonder
about.
if Josie had actually seen
A
someone,
time slip.
yeah, someone that had gone into a time slip.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see something like that.
I think sometimes, unless you kind of know about these things, you put it off to like, you kind of
Yeah.
explain it away, don't you? Like the husband in this story, you're
Yeah, you're
tired.
tired.
You're
Yeah.
tired. We love to be able to explain things rationally and be like, yeah, well, that
Mm,
can't have been what you saw because that rationally can't happen.
yeah.
Um,
I
you
mean,
know,
that's also a good heads up for all our male listeners, all the men that are listening out there. It might not be a good idea if when your woman is telling you something and saying, "Oh, it really scared me. I saw this." Maybe don't try and rationalize it. Maybe don't
yeah,
say, maybe don't make it like her problem because
yeah,
sometimes girls don't react well to that. Like, oh, are you due on? Oh, are you
yeah,
tired? It's like,
yeah,
why don't you? Yeah. And yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But you do try and rationalize it and go, oh, well, it was probably just someone, for a dress up thing. Maybe someone was going to a fancy dress party. Maybe it was this, maybe it was that. And then carry on with your life. You
yeah,
don't really look into it that much, but I can definitely see in my future me getting arrested or something because I've like launched myself and rugby tackled someone to the ground just like that because they were on their way to a fancy dress party or something and I'm
yeah.
I'm convinced they're going into a time slip.
Tell me where you're
I
from.
want to come with you. Rugby tackle them to the ground. They'll be
Uh-huh.
like, "Madam, please." But yeah.
Yeah. That's such a strange story, just that all of
Yeah.
those I mean, I'm a great believer in coincidences, but when you put all of those things together, that's no longer a coincidence, is it? One thing
No.
is a coincidence when it's all of those things. I mean,
You
to
know,
walk round and see
yeah.
that woman's name on the headstone, that's
Yeah, there's something, some kind of like echo or something
yeah.
there that's making you do that and go to that certain place at that particular time and things like that. I mean, we don't understand anything. Well, full stop. But I mean, like, we don't understand what happens when you die. We don't understand what happens with reincarnation. But I do after the stories that you've told us in particular, you've done a lot of stories on reincarnation, and I just think it just you can't explain any of those, even though
No.
we've spoken about it and spoken about it and spoken about it, we still can't find another reason behind that.
No, it's a very different situation when it's a child saying all that information. And it's information there's
Mm,
no way they could know or should know.
no,
It's different. They're an adult, isn't it? But for a child to be,
yeah,
showing people directions to a house that they should have no idea exists, or
yeah,
um, yeah, baffling, that story.
so perplexing.
So perplexing. Um, so this next one is much shorter, but
Okay,
it's a creepy ghosty one.
creepy ghosties.
Creepy ghosty one. And this is by Mr. Speed Mojo 97.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
standard. And it says, this story is absolutely legendary amongst my family, so I thought I'd share it online.
Ooh.
When I was a kid, I can't remember what age I was, but me and my two older sisters, my parents, and my aunt all moved into a big 8-bedroom suburban 2-story house with a pool, wine bar, and everything fancy in between, like a
Ooh.
laundry chute. It was a great, great place to live for a big family like us. My aunt got the majority of the top floor since she officially owned the house and understandably got first pick except for one bedroom, which my sister took, while the rest of us were living downstairs. The stereotypical lifestyle plays out throughout the years with the busy family. family pool parties, barbecues, sitting around a winter fire barrel exchanging ghost stories. They always tuned out due to it initially sounding like boring BS that people spread around campfires. Dogs running around causing chaos. We lived there for about 10 years, and throughout the years, my sisters both grew up, got boyfriends, and or eventually moved out. Then I graduated from high school and we decided to finally move out since it was time to move on and downsize. Soon the day of the move, my aunt had already moved out at this point, so it was just me and my parents with some helping hand friends. And while my family was loading the moving truck, a fart machine I got my dad for Father's Day a couple of months prior had just started going off on its own.
Yeah, sure.
We checked both controllers and nobody had touched them. In fact, nobody knew it was there since we were all busy with the move, and we all stood there staring at it go off a few times, completely speechless, not knowing how to react. I hesitatingly laughed it off, joking that this house was haunted. And soon after that, I went upstairs to check if we had left anything behind before we left for the new house. And lo and behold, I saw a reflection in the bedroom window. Standing next to my reflection was a child who was spitting image of my child self, but he was soaked just like he was just swimming in the pool, wearing a kid's black and blue swimmers, t-shirts, and I presumed he was wearing a blue swim shorts with a bowl haircut, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. He just stood there innocently, smiling and waving, before fading away and disappearing. I couldn't help but wave back and whisper, "Goodbye, little dude." Then I proceeded to hastily leave the house, pretending that it didn't happen as me and my family moved on to a new chapter of our lives. Lately, I've asked my sisters about the fart box situation, and they just laughed and said, "Bro, that place was haunted for years and you never even noticed. We kept on seeing you in the house when you were at your friend's place.
Oh.
Aunt Sally saw you standing at the end of her bed, staring at her in the middle of the night, and we all saw you on various occasions just standing by the poolside, staring at us throughout the years." Then my sister went over the history of the house. She and my other sister both looked up all those years ago and found out that it's because a kid who looked just like me had drowned in that pool about a few decades before we moved in. So they'd realised that the house was low-key haunted, and the entire time these hauntings were happening, I was completely oblivious, unaware of the whole situation. I personally never experienced any hauntings until that last day, so I figured that I looked so much like him, he saw fit to leave me alone, or have my back by haunting my sisters whenever they were being stereotypical, annoying siblings. So in conclusion, I had a ghost bunkmate who looked and acted like my unofficial twin brother that I never had. I heard a lot of ghost stories about hauntings being bad, but sometimes it's just a true blessing in disguise. I hope that kid has happily moved on onto the afterlife by now, or is just having a blast haunting the shit out of his new roommates.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, again, how can you doubt that purely because there were so many people that had seen him?
Yeah, and they all just kind of accepted the fact that that was it. They was,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah, it's haunted.
Billy.
Yeah. Billy. Yeah. That's crazy.
I just want to experience some sort of supernatural thing so I can be like, wow, I know that that's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I think we need to book something up and have a get together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I need to book something, yeah.
So this next one is by user NTGUAN. That's as far as that pronunciation is going.
I'm not weighing in on it at all. Don't know.
He says, in the heart of Bangkok, the Sathon Unique Tower stands as a skeletal reminder of dreams unfulfilled. Abandoned during the 1997 Asian financial crisis, the 49-story skyscraper looms over the city, shrouded in mystery and whispers of the supernatural. One rainy evening, a group of urban explorers decided to venture into the ghost tower. Among them was Niran, a thrill seeker with a penchant for the paranormal. As they ascended the crumbling stairs, the air grew colder and an unsettling silence enveloped them. On the 43rd floor, they stumbled upon a room filled with old construction equipment and graffiti-covered walls. Suddenly, Niran felt a chill run down his spine. He turned to see a shadowy figure standing in the corner, its eyes glowing with an eerie light. The figure whispered in a language he couldn't understand, but the message was clear. They were not welcome. Ignoring the warnings, the group pressed on, reaching the rooftop. The view of Bangkok was breathtaking, but the sense of dread was palpable. As they prepared to leave, Niran noticed a faint light flickering in one of the lower floors. Curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to investigate alone. Descending the stairs, he followed the light to a room that seemed untouched by time. In the centre was an old ornate mirror. As Niran approached, the reflection in the mirror changed. Instead of his own face, he saw the image of a woman, her eyes filled with sorrow and anger. She reached out from the mirror, her hand passing through the glass as if it were water. Ooh. Terrified, Niran stumbled back, but the ghostly woman followed, her mournful wails echoing through the empty halls. He ran, his footsteps pounding against the concrete, but no matter how fast he moved, the ghost was always just behind him. Finally, he burst out of the building, gasping for breath. The rest of the group found him pale and trembling, unable to speak of what he had seen. They left the ghost tower that night, vowing never to return. But Niran was never the same. He spoke of the woman in the mirror, of her sorrow and her rage. Some say she was a victim of a tragic accident during the tower's construction, her spirit trapped in the unfinished building. Others believed she was a guardian, protecting the secrets of the ghost tower from those who dared to uncover them. To this day, the Saffron Unique Tower remains a place of mystery and fear, its dark corridors echoing with the whispers of the past, and those who dare to enter might just find themselves face to face with the ghostly woman in the mirror.
Oh, that's a little bit.
Thank you.
That's a little bit Bloody Mary-y.
That is, yeah. And also, a little bit Harry Potter-y.
Little
Mirror
bit Harry Potter.
Said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as he looked in, he didn't see his own reflection, but that of his parents.
I'm standing there, holding a trophy. I've won the Quidditch World Cup.
I'm head boy. Yeah.
That was not the same for Niran. Niran did not experience that.
He didn't see himself as head boy.
He did not, no.
He might have had a flash of himself as a headless boy. And that's what scared him. Yeah, I don't know. Is that going to be a way, like, is a mirror a way of...
It's like a portal, isn't it?
Yeah, being able to show themselves. Or
that's why people cover mirrors. Whenever anybody's died, they will cover a mirror and open a window. It's not whenever anybody's died, but people that believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah,
they cover the mirrors and then they open a window to allow the spirit out.
Yeah, it's a certain religion, isn't it, that do that. But yeah, I think isn't it something to do with the ghost? Yeah, not getting trapped or something in the mirrors, and so they head for the window.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking in a mirror when it's dark or when you're like alone in the house and it's like evening or nighttime, it's always scary. It is, isn't it? I mean, even like in our bathroom, we've got one whole wall that is mirror.
Yeah.
Which, is not flattering at the best of times. But when you go in there like in the night, and we've got like roof windows, Velux windows, so if it's a clear night and the moon's out, it lights up the whole bathroom in like a bit of an eerie light. And I always do that thing where I go in the bathroom to go for a tinkle. And then I kind of don't want to look in the mirror, but I kind of feel that I have to. So I do that kind of.
If I don't look for long, I won't see.
I'll just look really quickly and then I'll quickly tinkle and get the hell out of there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I do that with scary films. I look at the lower part of the screen. I won't
Right.
watch the whole screen. I'll look at some of the screen. So it's like protects me from the bulk of
Like
it.
that.
I'll just look at a little bit through my fingers. So it won't
Oh,
scare me as much then.
yeah. Have you seen that video on the internet? And I'm talking to all of you. Have you seen that video of it's like a golden retriever. It's very, very puppy and Caesar like, and he's watching Star Wars. And then like he's really intently watching it. And then Darth Vader walks like out of like the mist of the stormtroopers. The dog get proper scared. He gets off the sofa, goes round the back, and then you can just see his nose peeping out where he's looking. It's so
Yeah,
good.
that's
That,
me when I watch scary films.
yeah.
Scaredy cat.
Yeah, I'm not. I watch them too much, I think.
Hayley wants to go to one of those fright festivals this year. And there's one in Norwich and it's called Primeval and it's supposed to be really, really good. She wants to go,
Ooh.
but it's quite expensive. So I'm going to be like, listen, I'd love to go, but actually,
Yeah.
really lots of
I
money.
can't. I would
Yeah.
love
I
nothing
feel
more.
like I'm missing out because I'd love to go. It's just too expensive.
We should go ghost hunting. I know of one. I know of
Ghost hunting?
a place, or not, I mean, not hunting, but ghost finding.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to go to that pub, aren't we?
Haunted pub.
Yep,
Yes, we are.
absolutely.
But as well as that, I want to go
Oh,
ghost hunting because it's like it's outdoors and it's in a place where people have died a lot in the
right, great.
past. And yeah, they're like, we can supply you with, like a torch, like a flashlight, or you can bring your own. And I said to Claire, I was like, I'm taking my own. I've got
Yeah.
the best laser torch there is on Earth. I'll light that up. It'll be like daylight for everyone. I'll end up ruining it, won't I, for
It'd be like,
everyone?
like Luigi's Mansion where you've got that little Hoover thing and you've got you point the flashlight and then I'll Hoover them up.
Yeah,
There
yeah, yeah.
you
Let's do
go.
it.
Done.
Yeah, more
All
please.
right. Well, that was the last of the ghosty stories today.
Oh,
Sorry,
wait for
guys.
another one next time. I like ghosty stories, especially on the build up to Halloween.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm gonna try and
Yeah.
find some sort of ghosty story for next episode.
Cool.
So can't wait. What day is Halloween this year?
I think it's a Wednesday because it was a Tuesday last year, wasn't it? We released the
Oh, it's a
Salem. Was
Thursday.
it a
It's a
Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah, we released the Salem trials, didn't
Because
we?
Monday one day, Tuesday two
Tuesday,
day,
Tuesday,
Wednesday
Wednesday.
when?
When?
Oh,
Huh? What?
what day? Thursday.
Thursday, the third day.
The third day. Yeah. So our Halloween episode will be out on the 29th. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
let us know, guys, what you want. Our last Halloween, we did Salem witches. What do you want to hear? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you
All
want?
right.
Let us know. What do you
Cool.
want for Halloween episode?
Text us.
Text us. Text us, message us, whatever. Email us, whatever.
Yeah. When you text us, if you text us, include
Mhm.
your email address because otherwise we won't
Oh
be able to
yeah,
respond.
that is
Do
true.
that.
Yeah, do it. Yep.
All right then.
All right, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Poddy poddy. All right. See you all
See you
next
next time.
time. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
hung or clang to hope. What was it?
Hung to clang to clung
It
to.
was like hung to clope. That was it. I had to relive that moment as I edited it.
Oh.
He hung to clope.